It's a question about the smart track, or related to the smart track transit plan of Mr. Tory. He asks, tax increment financing is borrowing funds from future tax revenue. How will downloading debt to future generations affect the student's ability to afford to go to school in Toronto? Mr. Tory, you have 2 minutes.
Well, let me just first of all say that Smart Track itself, for those who haven't heard of it, is taking, for the majority of it, existing GO train tracks, electrifying those so you have clean, emission-free electric trains that will provide, in 7 years, 22 stops across the city, from Mississauga, where there are 200,000 jobs, all the way through the city, to Markham on the other side, through Scarborough, where there are also 200,000 jobs. So one of the things that I'm seeking to do is connect people to jobs, including people like lots of younger people who choose to live downtown but may have a job that's in the high tech in Markham or in Mississauga with, say, the life sciences companies. The tax increment financing operates on the following basis: that when you build transit, transit inevitably attracts development because it is a place where people want to work or want to live or want to do business in retail or commercial, and there's also the development that's going to take place in the city around, in those different areas close by the Smart Track line. The tax increment financing, which is a device put in place by the Government of Ontario in 2006, the architect of which said this was precisely the kind of project for which it was meant, a large-scale transit project, public infrastructure. It takes a portion, a small portion, of the incremental revenue in the future that is derived from new buildings, residential and commercial, built along the Smart Track line, and uses that to pay for the transit system, so that you could have Smart Track in 7 years without increasing property taxes. And it has been used in 47 of the 50 states across the United States, and my optimism as to the workability of it here is founded on the fact that in the last 13 years, including 3 or 4 recessionary years in Toronto, we had $32 billion worth of development, 25 billion residential, 7 billion commercial. If we just continued at that pace of development and it's spread over a 30-year period, we would have more than enough money to pay for Smart Track and have new money coming into the city coffers at the same time. It will work, and I'm determined to build Smart Track because we need it urgently now.
Thank you, Mr. Tory. Candidates, you have 2 minutes to debate this.
Well, Colin had an excellent question. You know why? Because this kind of scheme did not work. You know what happened in New York? The $10 that they expect, they only got $1 back when they tried this, which means they are left with a huge debt. Remember, you're going to borrow a huge amount of money, billions of dollars, and you can't get enough money to even pay the interest, never mind the principal. So it also failed in California. That state did it many times at 89% failure rate. And you would think a responsible leader would have a plan B, would have done a risk assessment. No plan B, no risk assessment, because when it failed, you know what happened? Yes, it would be people like Colin and everyone else here holding the bag, paying the interest with a huge whopping property tax increases. That's the failed way to go. And that's not what we need. We need the East Bayfront LRT. That's what we want, a light rapid transit coming right to the campus itself. That's what we want.
Don't let Mr. Tory, talk about this backtrack. And I have some questions for Mr. Tory. First of all, I ask you, do you want the roads ripped up along Eglinton? Do you want the roads ripped up on Shepherd? Do you want the roads ripped up on Finch?
Yes.
I'm building subways underground, downtown relief line. This plan has holes all through it. It doesn't even connect with the existing line. It just doesn't make sense. My question is, Mr. Tory,
that's
what
debate.
engineering firms
That's called
even
debate.
looked at this? Because last time I checked, you said there was no engineering firm, and you don't have a plan B, you don't have a plan C, D, E, F, all the way through the alphabet. This is a pie in the sky idea. Don't buy the bill of goods. Mr. Tory is done so. What is the story, Mr. Tory?
I have to move on.